Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and Goodreads as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you've had an amazing week since I last podcasted. It has been so great here. It's currently, I don't know, when I woke up it was 25 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and yesterday it was cold, and the day before, so a cold front has come in, and the only thing that can make this better if there was snow, because I looked on the weather forecast, and it doesn't even say like rain, it just says 0% of chance of snow. So that would be like, I wouldn't even be podcasting, I would be out playing in the snow, to be honest. But I love cold weather so much. You know, I think a lot of knitters probably like cold weather because we get to wear what we make. And I'm actually wearing a hat that I knit. Oh gosh, what's the pattern? I forget the pattern. The colorway is Madelinetosh in their Robin's Egg, and it's a DK. If I remember the pattern, I'll say it during the show, or I'll post it in the show notes. But yeah, it's the only hat that I had that was close to pink colored. So, but along with the cold weather, it's just been a wonderful weekend. Yesterday I got to go with some friends and meet up and have coffee and spend the day knitting. So that was nice. I hadn't seen them in about a month, and it was just great to get to hang out. And one of my friends, Elizabeth, who is the designer of Dark Matter Knits, came, and I haven't seen her in forever. So I was so excited to see her and get to chat a little bit, and it was just a wonderful weekend. So now I'm here chatting with you, and that's going to be great. I have some tea that is still too hot to sip, but it's in a David's tea mug. It's just gorgeous, kind of aqua teal, like light aqua, with these leaves that have kind of a brownish gold. It looks like kind of wood paneling underneath the leaves. It's just really pretty. And then I'm having some mulled wine, and it's, again, tea, so there's no alcohol in it, but it's David's tea, and it says, the best way to warm up after an epic day in the snow. No snow. With a comforting spice tea, and it has orange peel and cinnamon and clove and ginger, so it's really good. I actually have a colorway called mulled wine that I need to dye up some more of. And I wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who came out and looked at and supported the Open Skies Etsy shop this week. The club went up, and there's still a few spaces for that left if you'd like to join in. It's going to have a skein of yarn and a ton of extra goodies every month. Like, I know some clubs are just the yarn, and then some clubs, you know, you have a lot of extra goodies. So this is one of the ones with a lot of extra goodies. So the price is more than just the yarn. But yeah, I'm excited to, I'm going to go shopping this next week and start getting stuff from I'll go to the Russian market first and get some stuff to put in the packages with the yarn. And I'm pretty sure I know the colorway that I'm going to be dyeing up for January, which January's color is going to be St. Petersburg. So I'm very excited. But yeah, let's get to finished objects. I forgot to bring the sock blockers down that Martha or Joe Sock Knitter gave me, because I just was racing about trying to get everything ready and I forgot. These are some socks for my husband, and they are Night Owl fibers in the Sherlock colorway. And so I'm keeping up with my one sock every Sunday, and it won't be quite set 27 pairs, but thinking about that made me really want to knit 30 pairs of socks this year. So I might change my goal. I'll have like a stretch goal of 30 pairs of socks this year, and I think that would be fun. But these are for him, and he absolutely loves them. The top is done in some Loopy U solid series, some of their color that I thought matched pretty well. And the next socks I'm going to knit for him, I think, are some Arnie and Carlos Regia. And that's all of that. See if this is cool enough to drink yet. It looks really hot. It's not cool enough. Okay, so let me show you some things I worked on. First, I think I'll show socks. So in a Bling Your String bag, and wishing for snow. I think the weather is going to warm up again, so we're not going to get snow. But I know in Dallas, which is just a little bit north of San Antonio where I live, got some snow because Diana Couture, my friend who does the amazing Serena bag, she posted pictures of walking around Dallas with snow, and I was like, oh, I wish we had some snow. But in here, I am working on some socks you haven't seen in a while. These were my Christmas socks. I cast on just the toe, and then I put them on pause so I could finish up Christmas gifts. And this is out of some Cuppycakez yarns in her Jingle Bells color. And I have actually never worked with Cuppycakez yarns before, and I'm absolutely loving this base. So this is what it looks like. It did come like this. It did come like this. I didn't have to wind this, and my husband didn't have to wind this. She did it for us. So it's this gorgeous kind of pinky red, then this beautiful Kelly green, and then a speckled section, which translates into a sock that looks like this. So I've got a lot of this done because last time you saw it, I think I was just finished with the toe. I think I had done one color repeat, so 3 stripes, but I've just been in a sock knitting mood, and these are almost done, so it means that my goal of having a sock for next Sunday is just a cuff away. So I think what I might do for fun is after I finish this one, I'm going to work a lot on my other projects, but maybe every day cast on a toe of a sock that I feel like it, and then have these in the car for my running around socks, so they'll still get knit on, but I don't have to feel like I have to knit a certain number of stripes every day to meet my goal. But it's just been fun, and this base, it's so nice. It kind of feels similar to Desert Vista Dye Works to me. I'm just comparing because I've never worked with this base, just trying to, you know, I've knit more with that sock yarn, but I love it. It feels sturdy, but it feels really soft, which is so nice because sometimes sock yarns can feel soft but not sturdy, or so sturdy that they don't feel soft. And I'm just doing my regular pattern on that, which is just toe up, fish lips, kiss heel, and just go up to the ribbing. So nothing special, and just using up some gorgeous self-striping. Now next, it's a little better now. Next is my Cloud Bay by Justina Lorikowska. It's for my best friend, and it's in a Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. It's a Christmas bag, but I'm getting very close to done with it, so I'm just gonna keep it in this bag till it's done. So last week it's so big now, and I have it on a needle that's for a blanket. Like I got this cable needle for a giant, like, twin size bed blanket, but I was about right here last week. So I was about halfway, not quite halfway through the ribbing. And so I finished the ribbing on the body. I guess I wasn't probably exactly halfway, but it's a little over 5 inches of ribbing. Now my friend is short, so I decided not to do the hugely full amount of ribbing, but I measured it against one of my sweaters I have that I like the length on, and she's even, I'm pretty short, but she's even shorter than me. So I think this should work fine. And then I picked up all the gajillion stitches around the button band, and then that way. And then I started the 1x1. It's funny because I was thinking, oh, 1x1 rib on all the stitches down here. No, now you get to do 1x1 ribbing on the button band, which has a ton more stitches. So I'm doing that, and I'm probably not quite halfway through the button band, but you don't do 1x1 ribbing all the way. It's kind of, it has an interesting detail to it. So I'm hoping my goal, I have like little sections, like if I do this much this week and this much this week, that'll be done by the end of January. So my goal for this week is to finish up the button band and start on a sleeve. And then the next week will be finish a sleeve and start on the next. And then that way by the end of January, I can have 2 sleeves and the button band, everything will be done. And I want to talk about something interesting with this, was that the bind off on this was a tubular bind off. Now, I don't know how well you will be able to see this. I have done tubular cast ons for hats and mittens, but that's in a smaller diameter. Mittens are very small, and hat, you know, not too big. But this was a tubular bind off on a lot more stitches. So it provides a good stretch, and I think it looks fairly nice. Not as nice as, say, like an I-cord bind off, which I think looks stunningly beautiful, but it definitely is nicer than just a standard knit off bind off, and it definitely is stretchier. And she had instructions in the pattern, Justina Lorikowska, but they weren't quite meshing with my brain. So I watched a YouTube video and I was like, oh, it's just grafting, but you're grafting on one needle, because I had done a tubular cast on, but I don't know if I'd done a tubular bind off, or I didn't, it's been so long that I didn't remember it. But yeah, it was easy once I realized that it was grafting on one needle. And I did have a thing where, since it was so many stitches on the needle, I didn't know how much yarn I needed to preemptively kind of get off the skein to do so. I had a giant, massive amount of yarn in my little plastic blue needle that I was running through. And I have a song that I sing to myself when I was first learning to knit, very early days, years and years, like years ago, decade ago, in my early 20s. I went into a yarn shop and they taught me how to graft, and they taught me how to graft by singing the song from Sound of Music, the Edelweiss, and to the tune of that, but they sang the grafting stitch. So now whenever I graft, I sing that song in my head, and I just had to be taught how to graft once, and I've never forgotten it, never needed to refresh. So that was fun, getting to graft on one needle, which I'd never done before to my memory. And this, what I'm knitting this out of, is some Knit Picks Capra and just their white colorway, I believe. And that is that sweater, which is going to be so wonderful to have done. I haven't gotten to see my best friend yet. I think they're due back from Chile in 1 or 2 weeks. And so then we'll meet up probably towards the end of January. It'll be perfect timing. And then the next thing, let me get some more tea. The next thing I forgot to mention who this bag was by last week because I was so busy talking about the designer that it slipped my head. But this bag is by my wonderful friend Darlene, who is Bags by Awesome Granny. And it was a custom bag that she did for me in 2015, end of 2015, early 2016. But I found this fabric and I fell completely in love with it. And it is, of course, a Russian kind of print. Well, it is Russian print, but so it looks like. And it's just so, so beautiful. Spoonflower is dangerous. I think that one of my goals is to sew more this year, but it's going to be hard if I start sewing a lot to not have skirts for myself and 20 million fabrics, because there are so many fabrics that I would want to do skirts for, or pajama pants in. But yeah, I absolutely love this bag. And she picked this gorgeous holly berry kind of vine, just white shimmery lining, which is stunning. And so this is the first pattern that I cast on for the Veera Valimaki month in January. And it is the Iceberg from the Bespoke Sweaters collection, which I want to knit all the sweaters in that. And last week I had just barely cast on. It's all curled up at the bottom, so you can't really tell. I had about an inch done. And this week I think the turtleneck calls for a ridiculous amount of ribbing, but I'm close to it. I think I have 2 inches left till I am ready to start the body. So basically I've knit a hat, but you can see a lot more clearly this week because I've done more the gorgeous ribbing. I'm trying to reach the camera so far away from me, but the yarn that I am knitting my Iceberg sweater out of is some yarn that I feel so lucky that I got to work with, because I probably would have never bought this yarn on my own because it is pricier, but I had a gift card from my mom that I had been saving for forever, because she basically gifted me amount of a sweater's quantity worth of yarn. So I kind of was saving it up for when I had a sweater that I wanted to do. And it was from the Loopy U that she had gifted me. I can't remember if it was for my birthday or Christmas, but it was forever ago. And so this is Shalimar Yarns, and it's their Breathless DK in the Glacier colorway. And it is a 75 merino, 15 cashmere, 10% silk. And so it's just beautiful to work with. The drape, it won't even stay in the cake. It's so chill. It's like a pun since it's an iceberg. So it's just gorgeous, and I'm loving working with this. My mom rarely watches the podcast because she doesn't really do the internet. She doesn't do the internet much, even though she's very young. But so Mom, if you do watch this, I love this yarn. Thank you so much for the Loopy U gift card forever ago. And yeah, that is my Iceberg sweater. And hopefully I'll get more into the body of it this week. And once I get the other sweater off the needles, if I get it off earlier than anticipated, this will be flying because it's done on such large needles. And I know too, once I'm not doing the ribbing, it will go a lot faster because it's like a seed stitch ribbing. So there's a lot of changing needles around, which takes some time. And then the last thing I cast on, I become obsessed with. So it's in this book, The Interpretations, and it is the very last pattern. It is the Be Kind shawl. And I never get to show the patterns because I don't, I don't insert pictures. I might someday, but I don't really spend the time inserting pictures like into the podcast. But this is what it looks like. And I don't normally have print copies. But yeah. It's stunningly beautiful, and it's a really fun knit, especially if you love the just soothing component of garter stitch knitting with a little bit of interest, and if you have a yarn that just sings to you, it's a great shawl. So in my Down Turkey Town Road bag, which was so kindly gifted to me, and then there was a giveaway for a bag of hers a while ago, and this bag has a funny story from yesterday because I was knitting with my friends and move my leg here. I was knitting with my friends and I had gone up to go get coffee, and I was sure that I had put this bag on the table that I was sitting at, and I come back and I don't see the bag. And I'm looking around on the table. I'm not saying anything. I'm just kind of looking around, and I'm looking on my chair. Did I put it on the ground? Did I put it on somebody else's chair? I'm starting to think I'm going even crazier than I am because this week I have just been losing things, and I never lose things. I am always one of those people that everybody else in my family is asking me where something is, and I keep track of, I think that's a mom thing. I keep track of everything for everybody else. But this week I've just felt really not great mentally with keeping track of things. So I thought, I lost another thing. And Heidi, my friend Heidi, Undead Yarn, starts giggling. And I looked over at her and automatically I was like, you took the bag. And she was like, it's so cute. And everybody at Knit Group, like I think it looks cute on the camera, but in person, it's even more stunning. This flower is 3D, and so they all wanted to know where I got it from, and everybody complimented this bag because everybody thought it was so pretty. So thank you again so much. It's Down Turkey Town Road, and I have never gotten to use this, or I've never made the time to use this bag. I've been, when you have a lot of bags, you use random ones sometimes. So I'm really glad that I have a purple bag to kind of go with this shawl pattern. So here's the Be Kind, which I cast on Friday. It's kind of what I'm doing is casting on the new pattern Friday, working on it over the weekend. So I have something to show you, but I most of the week spend time working on my whips. I got a lot done. I was posing, my friend Heidi was taking a picture of us all in Knit Group, and I was posing like it was a beard, and it's gotten to be a lot larger beard now. It was like it could have been a handlebar mustache, and now it's like a full-on like Santa Claus fairy beard. Because Santa Claus wouldn't have these color beards, but maybe, I don't know. But, so it is this gorgeous yarn ink. I don't have the label in here, but I'll bring it next time. This is gorgeous yarn ink, and it's a base of white with speckles of green and purple and blue. And this is what it looks like all caked up. And the base, it feels soft in the skein, but it feels so much softer when you're knitting with it. So it's just very nice. This is my first time using yarn ink, and it had been on the list of a dyer that I'd wanted to try. So I'm so glad I did, because it's fun to try new dyers. So that is my Be Kind shawl. I don't know, yeah, I showed it pretty. Like you can see, it has a different shape to it, and it's going to become more obvious as the shawl grows. And with any new cast on, you cast it on, you just want to work on that. I'm telling myself you have to work on other things. So that is all of my knitting for this week. And then I have some spinning. I haven't started much on the Noro, just a tiny little bit, and I have, I'm trying to make Tuesdays the spinning day, where I sit down and spin for a good portion of time while listening to an audiobook. But I did have this gorgeousness to show you. And this is some Phydeux. I'm not sure on the name exactly, and I don't have the label in front of me, but it is in the Figue colorway, and it's some that my friend Jennifer, Ironical Knitter, she gave me an Etsy card, and then I picked this one out, but for her birthday last year, and it's so beautiful. So thank you, Jennifer. And this is actually going to, I believe, and it's a silk and merino content, because I love yarns that have that slip when I'm spinning with them. I like it to be slippery. And I might give it another bath and weight dry it. I didn't weight dry it last time because I was in a hurry, but to kind of help the silk soften up even more. But like I was saying, all last year, a lot of my skeins that I was hand spinning last year went to like Patreon or went to friends, and some of them that I saved because I've been planning on doing an enchanted mesa out of hand spun. And so, because that pattern just allows for so many different bases and so many different weights and all kinds of things, so I thought it would be perfect for hand spun, and I know a ton of people have done it in hand spun. So I think this might actually be the top color of my enchanted mesa sweater that I have, because I think the silk will provide a really nice drape for that. And yeah, so I have a pretty discernible color palette when I pick out my fiber, so they all will work relatively well together. But I thought go lightest to darkest in the thing. So yeah, this one might be the first one. So that's my spinning. And then for enabling, after we had coffee, and then some people had breakfast, but I don't really like muffins or stuff like that for breakfast. Kind of an eggs and toast kind of girl. And I had forgotten to have breakfast at home because I was in such a rush to get there, and so I just had lunch with them. We had lunch out, and then there's a little yarn store called I believe it's Lucky You, right across from there. So we all went in after lunch because I knew I needed some sock needles. But then they had these things at the front that were so cute. And I have a lot of friends having babies coming up in the next year. So these are going to be baby presents if my daughter doesn't cry and demand that she keeps them. So I had never seen these before, but you might have seen them. I get them out to show you. But they were amazingly well priced, and it's like that perfect, under $10 gift price. Like, of course, there's my time put into it, but I don't really think of that in terms of price. I just think of how much my time is free. If I love my friend, it's like if I love you, then it's free. And so my time I don't even think of. But so I got 3 of these, and my thought was that I'd let my daughter maybe keep 1 and then give 2, or I don't know how it's going to work out because she loves them all. Made the mistake of showing them to her, but they are called Top This, and it has the yarn, and then it has a little thing to put on top of the hat. I don't know how much you can see. I wish I had longer arms, but there's that, and that's, if you can see, hopefully. The yarn is to knit the hat, and then you put that on top, and this is a little owl. So cute. And I thought that this would be the one my daughter would want, but she loves them all. So an owl, and then a Nemo one. And I don't know, I haven't seen these in other yarn shops, so I don't know if it's just like a newer thing, but this is a great, like if you're looking for a gift for a little kid, like niece, nephew, grandson, friend, they're so cheap. And I think under $10 for a thing this cute is great price. And then Santa. So they had that one, and I just thought those would be so cute. So these are going to be knit up sometime. It's just a basic beanie. The yarn does all the work, which is very nice. And I think those are going to be fun. My daughter loves. She said that maybe I could give the Santa Claus one to somebody else, but she needs Nemo and the owl. So we'll see if we can talk her to just one of those. So that was enabling. And then let's talk about group news. We have right now the Veera Valimaki Cal going on all of January, and I forgot to draw the winner for the pattern, but I'll lock it as soon as I finish this, and I will tag you. So you will be tagged in the show notes on the Ravelry group thread, so you'll know who the winner was. I was trying to remember myself to do that, but then I was in the middle of doing the Patreon stuff, so I kind of forgot. But I do have the Patreon thing here. And so I started packaging them up. You'll probably get, so there are three Patreon winners, and you probably get 2 of these, but it has 7 minis in each, so it'll probably be a total of 14 minis. And then I have these adorable little owl stickers that were given to me, I believe, by Aubrey. And I love them so much, it was hard to part with them, but I was like, yo, this is gonna look super cute on the package. So there's little owls. This owl is a sheriff for, you know, the desert. And then this owl is a pretty, pretty flower fairy princess. So, and this one is just, I don't know, an owl in the middle of a circle. But yeah, so these are getting ready, and I have other ones to package up. And I got these for the yarns, the Open Skies yarn, because there's going to be a mini sets coming up for that soon, probably by the end of January, because I mentioned the Kate Winslet thing, so I'm going to try doing some minis for that. I think that will be a ton of fun. So the 3 winners for the Patreon, and there are not, I checked to make sure there aren't like 2 people with the exact same name, so if you hear your name, it's you. So I open it up on my phone because I drew it beforehand. I wrote it down in my notes on my phone. So the 3 winners are Joanne, Anna, and Patsy. So just contact me when you hear this on Ravelry or Patreon or whatever, and I will get these sent off in the mail to you. I'm still winding the other 7 because these are like the variegated or tonals. I still am doing self-striping, and my husband is helping me a lot with that, I should say. But we're still doing all the self-striping ones into a thing. And I will have like a little sheet that tells you basics of what they are for the ones that I remember. So I probably won't remember every single one, but I remember the vast majority. So yeah, those are the Patreon prizes. And I think that is all for group news. And then the last thing is the book review. So I started this at the end of 2016, finished at the beginning of 2017, and it is We the Living by Ayn Rand. And I have now officially read all of Ayn Rand's fiction novels, and that it's a pretty cool thing if you've never done this. Pick an author that you enjoy their writing style and read their entire collected works. I have several that I'm either in. Gustave Flaubert is one that I'm almost done reading his collected works. I have Fitzgerald, I have Dickens, I have Elizabeth Gaskell, I have Emile Zoyer. I probably pronounced it, but I have several that I have their like life works. You can buy it on the Kindle for like $1 if you have the Kindle, or you can read them online for free probably. And I'm working my way through those. So Ayn Rand doesn't have quite the plethora of novels that Dickens does or something, but I have now read through all of them, and I really enjoy her writing style. It is very like distinctive. You know, even this was her first one that she ever had written, but I can still tell it's her, and she talks a lot. She kind of likes herself a little bit at Ayn Rand. She talked about how a lot of people's first novels aren't that good, but she reread hers and it's just as great. It was given in, I think, an interview at the beginning of this, like an opener to the book. And this is a copy that a friend let me borrow forever ago. And I actually started reading this, but then ended up doing the audiobook just because I needed an audiobook to where I could take it for driving and take it for when I was on the airplane and flying, like stuff like that. So when we went away for Christmas. But We the Living is about this girl named Kira, and Kira is growing up in Soviet Russia, and she really has this dream of building things, becoming kind of, I guess, an engineer, architect. And her family used to be wealthy, like a bourgeois, and they have not nice terms to them in the book from some of the people. So they are finding it very hard in the new Soviet era because in communism, they want everybody to be the same. So they kind of are trying to bring the people that have been wealthier down to the other level by kind of depriving them of anything, basically. And so that they can't, they can't use their money to get into schools. They can't, and also even, not even trying to be an equal footing, but it's kind of a disadvantage. If your family had that, everything was harder for you because people wouldn't want to hire you because your background. And so she goes to school and she meets this man named Leo one night and kind of instantly falls in love with him, as he is kind of thought as her ideal of what a man is. And then she also, at the school, I believe, meets another man named Andrei, and Andrei falls in love with Kira. And so it's this kind of love triangle, which I don't love. I don't like love triangles, just to be honest. But it deals with Kira and Leo kind of being together and their struggle to kind of make it, and they're both very opposed and kind of ambivalent, maybe even would be a better word, to communists. They just want to do what they want, and it's kind of, Ayn Rand has the philosophy of selfishness. They're both very selfish. And then you have Andrei, who has this kind of holds communism up as this amazing ideal, but he's finding that it's not meeting that ideal. Like, the reality of it is not what he envisioned it could be. And so he's kind of coming to grips with the kind of failed ideal of communism to him. And so Leo, Kira's lover, gets really sick, and she needs money to send him somewhere so that he can get well. And there's no way you can get help in communist Russia. And so she kind of goes to Andrei, and that kind of starts the love triangle. But it's a very good book about the struggle of, she says, the individual against the state, but the struggle of that, which is best, like the desire of selfishness, the desire to do what you want versus this kind of community ideal, and kind of I see it as the problems with both of them, but Ayn Rand, of course, just saw as the problems of the one. But she has said before that this is the closest thing there will ever be to an autobiography of her, that the plot wasn't like her life, but the background is a lot like her life, because she, of course, came from Russia and then came to America. Now, I love Ayn Rand's work, even though I don't subscribe to a lot of the theory. She was very big on a philosophy of selfishness, and I think I have the exact opposite view on selfishness as she did. I think selfishness is not a great thing. It's probably just a religious difference between Ayn Rand and myself, but I do agree with her idea that no matter what you do, if you are a clerk at a grocery store, if you are a lawyer, if you are a state park person who state park ranger, if you are, I'm just listing different, if you're a truck driver, no matter what you do it to the best of your abilities. Don't ever think, oh, I'm just a cashier at this place, it doesn't matter if I do a good job. She kind of always has this person that, they're a waiter at a restaurant and they're efficient and they're, just really good at what they do. And she kind of shows the merit in that. And I love that. I definitely believe, I highly respect everybody of every single profession. I don't agree with like this person's special because of this. I think, what's special is doing what you do and doing it really well and taking pride in that. And I really like the way she presents that it doesn't matter what you're doing, but just do it well. So that's something I've kind of taken away from her books that I've enjoyed. And I enjoy her writing style. It's not, I don't ever plan to read her nonfiction because I don't believe that selfishness is a good thing. I think selfishness has caused a lot of problems in our world. So yeah, I really enjoy her writing style, and I'm glad now that I have read all of her novels. I will probably go back sometime in my life and reread The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged, because I enjoyed those so much. I love those doorstopper of books. But I don't think I will reread this one. But if you haven't read it and you are looking for an Ayn Rand that is not over 1,000 pages, this is a great one to try. It is We the Living by Ayn Rand, and she also has Anthem, which is even shorter than this, which is not as good story-wise as this. So I would say if you are like story-driven, plot-driven, character-driven things, to do this rather than Anthem. But yeah, We the Living by Ayn Rand. And that is all I have for you this week. I have to go because it is now late in the afternoon and I haven't had lunch. So I'm gonna go have lunch. My family's had lunch, but I just had some tea. So I'm gonna finish my tea, go have lunch, and my mom is coming by later to, exchange Christmas presents, because she's been very, very busy with work and some family stuff that I'm not going to talk about here on the podcast, because it's a podcast of happy things. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful week till next week, and that you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye guys.